This 2022 F1 season is going to be a long one. Alright, I get your excitement, but pull yourself together, dude. Don't you want to know what an F1 driver's secret diet is? Who all dreamt of being an F1 racer as a child? Not to forget, imagine driving a Ferrari? But if we can't live up to that dream of ours, surely we can try and do every freaking stuff an F1 racer does, right? So are you excited to try an F1 racer diet plan? Then what are you waiting for? Get your gear ready and give it a shot. In this video, we will take you through all that an F1 driver eats. So without any further ado, let's get started. Like I said, there wasn't much time left for players with around 23 races in the 2022 season crowding their calendar. You must be wondering how this makes a difference, right? Then let me tell you, this leaves the players very little to recover from one race and another. That rules out that the players must spend long hours behind the wheels, and I guess we can agree that it's not a simple walk in the park. If there is anything that has a significant impact on a driver's performance, then it is undoubtedly his diet. So no wonder we've seen drivers become more particular about their nutritional needs. And this is something we find people going around and talking about. In fact, it is very rarely discussed. So why not dive deep into it? Formula One drivers have to be at peak physical fitness in order to race, so everything in their training and diet is designed in a way to make them go faster on race day. Well, it might not look like it on TV, but F1 is physically demanding. The driver must apply approximately 140 kilos of pressure to the pedal, and it is not a cakewalk for anyone to begin with. And it takes just a matter of seconds for us to call it quits. But these F1 guys have been doing it since long before we even know. Considering that they do this lap after lap and that most races last around an hour and a half, it's not hard to imagine why modern F1 drivers have to train like elite athletes. Let's see what 2021 champion Max has got to know. Max said, "With diet, you want to try and eat as clean as you can to refuel. Get the calories back into your body and catch up on some rest. Those are the two biggest things that have helped me out and helped me to understand what's needed to let my body be in the best shape. Needless to say, keeping your body in peak condition is critical, and for balance, it's the first thing that comes to mind. I've certainly experimented over the years, but I function best with balance. So I look for balance, and obviously I mean flavor. I think, fortunately, I still have a pretty fast metabolism so that I can get away with a little extra flavor. Aside from the required vitamins and minerals, one driver must consume the proper macronutrient balance. Macronutrients are the three key puzzle pieces in everyone's diet: proteins, fats, and carbohydrates. Proteins, in a nutshell, maintain and build muscle. They're critical for athletes to improve their condition after training and to reduce the time required to recover between sessions. Carbohydrates, on the other hand, have the primary function of providing athletes with the energy they require during the race weekend. So let us take a look at the common diet plan recommended for everyone. That said, an F1 driver's diet will be made primarily of clean, healthy foods, with a typical day's breakfast being scrambled eggs and fish for protein, limited amount of coffee to help boost alertness, porridge oats for fiber, vegetables for carbohydrates, minerals, and antioxidants. For lunch, meat, poultry, and fish for protein, vegetables, quinoa, and brown rice for carbs. And for dinner, salad and more vegetables, fish for protein, sweet potato mash, snacks, protein shake, or Greek yogurt mixed with oats, nuts, and seeds. Naturally, drivers will need to keep hydrated throughout the day too, so a bottle of water will never be far away. If they do end up craving a hot drink, chamomile tea is best as it contains no caffeine. Not all drivers follow the same principles though. Like we have already established, the things that F1 drivers' bodies go through during a race are harsh, and Hamilton being the top racer to have the highest number of championship titles and race wins, so it is no surprise he has got a different plan. And moreover, Hamilton has admitted that he can lose as much as 4 kilograms during the hotter races. With humidity at venues like Singapore, it does take a toll on the drivers. It drains the drivers of their fluids. On top of that, he claimed to have lost 4 kilograms after getting coronavirus. Obviously, this cost him. Due to this, he missed the 2020 Sakir Grand Prix. Hamilton switched to a plant-based diet in 2018 and said it's made him more alert and quicker to recover from races. However, some experts believe going vegan can actually be detrimental to performance in sports, so the science is disputed, we see. McLaren driver Daniel Ricciardo explained what a driver has to face over the course of a weekend and emphasized the importance of diet and recovery. He also discussed other challenges facing drivers throughout the weekend, such as media appearances and setup work, which he described as a mental drain. He said, "Throughout the weekend, the biggest thing I've gained is wisdom, and at my age, knowing the value of recovery. The racing, especially in Formula 1, is physically demanding and exhausting, but it's also everything else that comes with it as well. It's not like we just wake up on Sunday and drive for 2 hours and go home. Our race weekends sometimes span across 5 days. Whether you're speaking with engineers or the media, we're constantly on. Even our mental energy gets zapped on Sunday when we're already a little bit drained. We have to put on our best physical performance of the weekend." So now let's see how these players tackle this problem, shall we? Number 1, maintain a high protein intake. Not only will this help to protect muscle mass, but it will also promote muscle protein synthesis and strength development. Drivers should consider protein total, timing, and type. Number 2, stay hydrated. Dehydration is a risk for drivers. They can lose up to 5% of their body mass through sweating in a single race. Fluid should be sipped throughout the morning of a race alongside fruits and smoothies containing carbohydrates for energy. Number 3, fuel for the work required. What a driver eats and drinks should change depending on the physical work they do. Drivers may benefit from increasing carbohydrate intake on long track days, but they should reduce carbohydrate and overall calorie intake on normal days. Number 4, fill up on complex carbohydrates. Drivers consume mainly whole grain complex carbohydrates, which provide more sustainable energy for longer training days and racing. Number 5, plan ahead when traveling. F1 teams undergo a strict travel schedule, which leaves them at risk of making poor dietary choices and potentially picking up illnesses like upper respiratory tract infections. Preparation for this is key. Drivers may have an electrolyte tablet during flights to aid with their hydration. They should plan to sleep or stay awake, which helps to prevent jet lag. Good hygiene and consuming familiar foods are key when in other countries to help prevent sickness. And even the cars will pass through that corner 63 times during the race, which is the equivalent of lifting around 9 tons on the leg press machine. Well, there is another racer, Daniel Ricciardo, who said reevaluating his diet was a big part of that. The Formula 1 driver explains that while he's always eaten well and has a pretty quick metabolism, he's focused more on balanced, high-protein diets for endurance. F1 is not simply a race to be the strongest, though. The drivers had to be as light as possible to keep the weight of their cars down and maximize speed on the track. Let us know in the comments who you think follows the best plan. That's all for this video. Thanks for watching.